All right. I'm Brian Jensen, CEO and founder of Fishidy. But more importantly, I'm an avid angler. I grew up in Wisconsin in the upper Midwest, fishing all my life. But unfortunately, I'm always not the most successful angler, which is why we created Fishidy, the first of its kind mobile app and website that connects anglers to more fish and helps them eliminate unproductive water. The genesis of sort of a Fishidy really starts with a personal story of mine. One summer I was going up a few years back to my big summer retreat up on a lake in northern Minnesota. And I was so excited about going there because I had heard the fish tales. I had seen some of the pictures. And I was so excited to get up there and catch 10-pound walleyes all week until my arms fell off. Well, that didn't exactly happen. In fact, I had the worst fishing week of my life, and which really kind of stunk because I had invested, well over $1,000 in this trip. I didn't have the $1,000 GPS units that you find on most boats, or some boats today. And I was just out on this 100,000-acre lake, just saying, what am I doing wrong? Where do I need to go? So when I got in my truck to drive home, my 9-hour drive of shame, I said, I think I know a way how we could solve this problem for anglers everywhere. So, luckily for me, I don't have that problem anymore, and neither do our 350,000 members. The way our technology works and how we're helping them catch more fish is because we're giving them the ability to connect with a like-minded community of fellow anglers, but even more importantly is we have some secret sauce in our copyrighted digital fishing maps. This information has been collected over the period of 30 years, mostly by guide scouts. And the way you think of it is where sort of Google Maps ends at the lake, that's where we take off. So we have high definition, detailed maps that tell you where the 10% of water where those 90% of fish are. The market is very huge. No offense to my good friends at the Golf Channel, but we're actually 3 times bigger than golf in terms of participants worldwide recreationally. It's somewhat of an accessible sport, so it makes sense. And yes, fishermen are athletes. So aside from $42 billion annually in revenue spent on fishing, I mean, it's a very, very large market. I mean, like I said, globally, we're talking about 100 million. So let's kind of hit the water. So you want to go to Fishidy and you want to find a place where you can catch a fish. Well, first thing you need to find where you're going to fish. Luckily, Fishidy has most of the fishing areas covered. In fact, we have 90% of all fishing activity days on the water covered. We have complete saltwater coverage from Maine to Washington State. We have over 30,000 inland water lakes, the most popular. So we definitely got Lake of the Ozarks. We definitely got Table Rock. Check them out. They'll help you catch some bass. So we have the coverage. We're also going international. We have a partnership in place right now that will allow us to add waterways in Canada, Australia, and all throughout Europe. So you find your waterway, you go to it. Then you dig deeper into the waterway. And then you say, okay, now where do I go on that waterway? Well, you can use our fishing forecaster tool that will literally tell you hour by hour what you should use, where you should go, what your likelihood of catching fish is. So it's your planning tool. You can also look at our vetted hotspot and content information that's on there, and you see those tiny dots represent where the fish activity is. Plus, we're fully integrated with the Weather Channel, so we have live weather feeds and all the information you need for planning your trip. So this is my home lake. Anyone been to Madison? This is Lake Mendota. It's a beautiful lake. This is just one small section of the lake. And what you can see here is that if you're looking at probably a quarter of the lake, look how much of that water is actually fishable. Those yellow dots represent actual spots and catches that our users have submitted. So they're in the system. So the question you guys have already thought of, and the question you have been thinking about, and you're all dying to ask is, why the hell would a fisherman share information? Well, let me tell you why. First of all, we built a social platform for a reason. We didn't build it so that everyone could share everything with the world. We built it because in a social platform, you can control how information is shared. So if you're a super secretive angler, you can select to share stuff only with the people you're connected to within Fishidy people on certain waterways, or you can keep it completely private and use it as a personal fishing log. You also have the information ability to share it with everybody, and believe it or not, over 70% of our users right now are actively sharing content. So how do we make money? Well, first of all, we have a consumer, we're really a B to C to B, but one of our major revenue streams is through SaaS subscriptions. So you give us, you give us $9 a month or $49 for a year, and we give you like really juicy data tools that pretty much make the fish jump in the boat for you. But where the B to C to B part comes in now is that because we're so geo-targeted, we have such a niche market that we're actually able to deliver marketing and business solutions to companies in the industry. One of the major things we're working on now is the ability to actually purchase lures and equipment through contextual-based advertising in our site that comes direct from our information and also our community's information. And we have advertising. We have done a really good job of, again, bringing that niche market. We ran a pilot program with Geico last year for it was about 10 to 12 grand. Geico just re-signed up for 100 grand in 2016. So the advertising works. How we're capturing the market? Well, what's great about being a digital company is like, if you do it right, it can be relatively cheap to grow. We haven't spent a lot on marketing, and we're at 350,000 people. Our customer acquisition cost is way less than $1. We really utilize organic growth, word of mouth, but also things like ambassador teams. And one of our biggest things, and this is a credit to my digital marketing manager, my product manager in the back of the room, is we are rock stars at SEO, and that drives a huge amount of our traffic. It is such a powerful tool, and if you do it and do it right, it's amazing how many customers you can get from it. And then last but not least is we drive customers through free co-marketing programs. For example, we did one with Walmart that's actually still going in select stores. You can actually see a sign that directs users to Fishidy because Walmart recognized that they didn't know how to influence their shoppers' decisions, product-making decisions, products buying decisions, I should say, and say, hey, Fishidy is a great source to do that. But we're also doing something with this contest with Under Armour next year. So there's a lot of cross promotion that we can get a lot of juice from other brands by working closely with them. Competition. I'm not going to lie. You can go on your app store right now and search for fishing apps. You could search, and you'll probably get, I don't know, maybe 100, 200. But the reality is there's really only 4 players in this game. And even when you boil that, it really comes down to 1 or 2. What clearly sets us apart from our competition is the mapping information that we have. We are the only source out there that has this detailed content. It's copyrighted, it's exclusive, and it's ours and ours only. Additionally, our algorithms that we use within our platform are also patented, and that we own 100% of all the IP. This is my crack team. We're small, we're lean. I mean, most of us are lean, but we operate very leanly. And each one of these gentlemen serve a very unique purpose. Drew, my product manager on the far left, he's in the back of the room, really understands technology, the way technology is moving, and designs and builds beautiful software products. John, next to him, the shorter guy, he did SEO formerly for a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. He ran their digital marketing. And the rest of the team, including strategic sales for people from Verizon, and we have a development team that's actually worked together for 10 years building military logistics software. So they're crack software engineers. Getting into the numbers here, we have the ability to grow and grow really quickly, and it can be very lucrative because of our multiple revenue streams. We are not just dependent on sort of our B2C subscription model, although that recurring revenue provides a really nice base for what we're doing. We have very low cost of goods and sales, being a digital company. I mean, we can run at 80% gross margin pretty easily. And we're actually doing it now, and if it weren't for Android and Apple, we'd be much higher than that. So you can see we have the ability to grow quickly. We know the right ways to grow it. One of the things that I feel we're very fortunate to have is like major industry partners for being, a relatively new company. I mean, I've already talked about Geico, but we're talking to people like World Fishing Network about white labeling our technology and utilizing it in other platforms. I've talked about Walmart. Lowrance I'm going to talk about in a minute because that's a really strategic one that's about to happen. But like Rapala, major industry brands that any of you that fish probably know about. So what I'm asking, we're raising $500,000 right now in a convertible bridge note. Of course I'm going to have a picture of me with a fish. I got to throw it in. But I'm going to give you a little tip. See how big my fist is? Hold it really close to the camera and it looks massive. So we have a convertible note open. It's about 50% fulfilled. It's a 20% discount onto our next round if you're interested. And then pretty much standard terms within the note. How we're going to use the funds. So we're obviously going to invest in growth marketing. We're going to invest in some manpower that's needed. But right now we have 2 strategic partnerships on the table that require us to scale up our resources. We have an agreement already with Watson, and I know I'm not supposed to announce it, so Nick, you can smack me around after. But basically, we're going to be building some pretty sophisticated intellectual property with Watson that's going to make angling decisions that much more powerful. And then we have an opportunity with Lowrance. Lowrance is the market leader in GPS hardware within boats. They have about 50% market share, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue they're making each year off their hardware. So this isn't a small business here. We're going to integrate with them. So we're basically going to bridge the technology gap that exists right now between the person with the smartphone and the person that has the hardware unit on the boat. Allow those technologies to integrate and speak to each other, and also develop more mapping content that's developed from the users that are actually out in the field. So I need your help. I really need your help. We're going to land the big one together. I think we're a good investment. We have over 350,000 members and growing, 10% at least every month, and that includes revenue. So we have traction. We have engagement. People are using Fishidy all the time, not only when they fish. It's not just a utility, it's a community. We have the only mapping data that's out there on the market for 30 plus waterways, 30,000 plus, I already told you. And we have key strategic partnerships that we have deals with in place right now. So I ask for your help, and I thank you for your time.